Awesome. Hey, everybody. Welcome to FEI Freight Executive Insights. I am not the freight executive with the insights. He is. His name's Chad. I might be over there when I produce this. You might be like on this side of me. I'm not sure. Or maybe, I don't know what it is. He's Chad Eichelberger, and I've known him for quite a few years. Thanks for coming on, Chad. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous, my friend. And who paints your walls, dude? They kick ass.
No, man, I'm out actually in California right now. So this isn't even our office. I'm just out here just for you.
Are you? Oh, so you just found a place you're squatting right now? So we need to
Yeah,
hurry
I
up,
borrowed
right?
somebody's office. So
We better hurry up before you get caught.
I know.
So listen, you founded and you're CEO or you're president, right? Reliance Partners.
Yeah, I did not found it. It was founded back in '09 by Andrew Latibouche, but I joined after I left Coyote back in 2015.
Yeah. So you were one of the original people at, well, not Coyote, but Access,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct. I was I think I was the seventh or eighth employee of Access. So didn't found the business, but was along for most of that journey. And man, it was so much fun.
Yeah, you and Andy and Steve Cox and building the hell out of that thing. And I remember talking to Andy at the Chili's. No, it wasn't either. It was across the street from Chili's there on Market that used to be there. It's a Mexican place there now. It was
Oh yeah, yeah.
Applebee's. Applebee's.
A
He
long
said he
time
was going
ago.
to. Yeah, when he said we're going to start Access, we're going to start Access America. I was like, okay, cool. That's going to be fantastic. Let's talk about you though, man. First of all, Reliance Partners. Explain to people who they are, and if they've got a fleet, why do they need to pay attention to who Reliance Partners are?
Okay, so Reliance Partners is a retail insurance agency. We insure more motor carriers than any other agency in the United States. We believe we insure more top 100 freight brokerages than anybody in the United States. We focus exclusively on trucking, logistics, the supply chain. We don't do any of that other stuff. So, we are a pure play insurance brokerage.
Wow. Okay. So that must make a huge difference than when you're talking to somebody who just has a division that deals with this type of stuff, right? I mean, I know you. I've known you for, man, 20 years,
Oh yeah.
I would say close to it. And so I know Chad knows freight. Like Bo knows baseball and Bo knows football. Chad knows freight, right? You're not an insurance guy that goes, "Oh, we can make money in freight." You're a freight guy who said the freight industry, brokerage and or fleets, needs a solution that is tailored to them, right? And that tribal knowledge adds that value, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that was attractive about this, I mean, after doing freight brokerage, I was ready to do something different. Love this business, love the idea of being able to build something, being oriented just around the supply chain on the insurance side. The technology we've been able to build and everything we do can really focus in on the industry versus being more of a generalist, which is typically what you see out in the marketplace in insuring motor carriers and freight brokerages.
Yeah, that's tremendous, dude. So, and by the way, if you don't speak English, call them anyways. Because I mean, how many languages is it now, and have you learned any of them? I mean, it's like 100 languages
Not
or something
me.
that are spoken.
I do. I'm good enough just to learn English, but we have 33 nationalities, 26 languages spoken with an organization. Obviously, trucking's incredibly diverse, and we want to mirror the industry that we serve.
Yeah, it is. It is tremendous stuff. So, what's going on in the industry with insurance these days? There's so much going on in freight with brokers and with fleets in sustainability, and then there's transparency of pricing that is going on back and forth, and obviously cargo theft has got to be.
It's
I
crazy.
read that it's up, and I would imagine that it would be. It's hard times for a lot of people, right? And so I would imagine that theft is pretty high. I don't know that you insure cargo, or is it the fleet and assets?
Oh, absolutely. And where we're seeing this theft really trend up is really brokerage, the freight brokerages out there
Oh,
that,
really?
yeah, because, gone are the days where these are not being stolen at a truck stop. These are being stolen over the internet. And so the way they're getting access to these loads are through 3PLs and through load boards. And so it's not happening, the way traditional cargo theft has. So it's really been, in fact, impactful to a lot of the freight brokers out there. We really encourage freight brokerage customers to take a hard look at primary cargo, where it's going to respond, first and subrogate back, as opposed to, buying a contingent cargo policy that may not respond at all, and it's going to have to wait on a denial from the motor carrier. Oftentimes, that's follow form, and you turn around and it's just a piece of paper. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're certainly seeing, I think, cargo losses among the 3PL marketplace, have skyrocketed. And, I saw some of the numbers the other day, but, several hundred percentage point increases over the past 3 years. So certainly that's problematic. I would say on the asset side, you're seeing a lot of rate increases that are coming from the London markets, who generally write a lot of the excess, or they participate in the reinsurance layers of different programs. And so obviously that's coming at a time when, as you're aware, the truck marketplace right now, the rate environment isn't ideal. So it's just added pressure to these motor carriers out in space.
Yeah, costs are unbelievable all over the place. Fuel, and you've got pressure to use different types of fuel, which aren't, biofuels and renewable fuels, and you got this patchwork of different mandates across the country. It's hard to keep up with. It's not as good fuel economy on some of these things. They're more expensive. Costs are hitting them all over the place. It's interesting that the cargo theft is shifting from, it's almost like it's still a physical theft, but it's changing from a physical theft to an internet theft, like you said, right? When I was back at Roadway, right, we had training videos of, we took a guy who was a cargo, he just coming out of doing prison. This is a serious Roadway Express training video on cargo theft. And then we took him to a truck stop just outside of Carlisle, Pennsylvania, which is where a lot of fleets have, especially LTL, huge cross stocks, right? In Carlisle, PA. Took him there to a truck stop, pointed at a cab and pointed at a trailer that had a kingpin lock on it. It said, go. And he had that thing off the property within 10 minutes.
Wow.
Right? But now it's
you don't need to do that now. You can
now it's at tender. You just get a computer. You can steal 10 of them at a time, right?
Well, yeah. What we saw before, the traditional hotspots for cargo theft, they've always been the same markets. It's been the Southern California market, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Memphis, Atlanta, South Florida. Those are generally the hotspots. And now people are, buying a computer. They can steal it wherever they want to steal it. They may divert them to one of those places later where the cargo is going to get exported or cross the border or hit the black market. But it's
like your investment multiple. Do you want to invest in asset-based trucking or a brokerage, right? Your multiple's better on the brokerage. You could steal more trailers through a computer than you can with a Slim Jim and a
and it's a real problem. And I think the industry recognizes it. And I was reading the article this morning on the FMCSA trying to put some more resources behind this. And hopefully there's some legislation that happens in Washington to allocate more funding to go after this. But it's a challenge. And, fortunately, you've seen the rise of some of these third-party software systems that are going and trying to address the problem, trying to identify ways that, these bad actors are infiltrating the systems and getting the loads. But it's as simple, Michael, if I were to tell you, I call you up today and I see your policy expires in 30 days and maybe you're struggling to make your insurance payments. And I say, hey, Michael, how would you like $10,000 to buy your company? I don't want your tractor. All I want is your MC, your email, your phone number, and all your load board logins and all your freight broker logins. And then I can turn around and go and perpetrate all this fraud through what you think, maybe I'm just trying to buy an established entity. I'm going to use it and intend to go commit fraud. And that's what we're seeing happen in the market. And it's very difficult to track that.
I had no idea. So that's the game plan. Is they're like, I'm going to buy your customer base and run your business for you. And basically it's just fraud. They're just stealing all
it's fraud. It's an illegitimate sell of an authority, to a bad actor. And they're going to send them a payment through a Venmo or some type of third-party payment app. There's no paperwork. It's just, hey, I want your email, your phone, your logins, and you're ready to go. But that's one of a number of ways that we're seeing this problem pop up.
Wow, that's crazy. You and I know somebody that I sold an MC number for to, and I I actually went on SaferSys 15 years ago and just started making phone calls on active old MC numbers
Yeah.
and found a guy who had one, started with a zero. Yes, score. And the guy said, I don't think I even own that. I said, FMCSA says you do. I'll give you 250 for it. He goes, sold. And I
Done.
bought it.
Well,
Done
unfortunately,
deal.
it is that easy right now. And I
It is
mean,
that easy. It is
people are
100% that easy.
here, people buying them on Facebook. I mean,
Yeah.
it's rampant. So, to be able to
Yeah, I
combat
cut him a check
this,
for 250. He sent me a piece of paperwork that said, I, Joe
yeah,
Blow, sell MC number to you. I filed it with the FMCSA, and they're like, cool, you own it now. And I was like, all right, sweet.
it's wild. I mean, it is the Wild West out there right now, and we're trying to to educate the marketplace. We had our conference in Nashville last week.
Yeah, I
There
saw
was a
that.
lot of conversation around that topic specifically.
Yeah, I saw that. And you guys were sponsored there at their traffic club golf outing
Yeah, I
earlier
think
this
earlier
week, I
this week,
believe.
yeah, we had some participants in the golf outing.
Yeah, you see my man, John Brewer. Did you go out there or no?
I wasn't up there. I was in our Phoenix office earlier this week.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. John Brewer is my partner in crime on the trucking tunes
Oh
that we
yeah,
do out there. He writes all the lyrics. Good guy. Anyways, he's big in that traffic club. It's really cool stuff. So you mentioned the people that are coming in with the software, et cetera, to try and prevent these nefarious characters from stealing over the internet, et cetera. Is that something that the fleets can grab onto as well and understand where their loads are being brokered, or is it really does it really occur after that fact at the brokerage house?
well, I think where fleets can really, where they really need to focus effort and energy is one. If you get a call and somebody's wanting to buy your authority, absolutely you should question that. And if it's going
Oh
to be
yeah,
an
for sure.
illegitimate sell, don't
Yeah,
sell your authority through a PayPal or Venmo app. Okay, just not a good idea, because they're going to impersonate you, and you may have liability that comes back on you. Oftentimes, I think people don't even understand, was this legitimate fraud, or did this person actually just decide they were going to steal the loads? I mean, it's tough to prove when you got the email and the phone and everything else. And so I think that's one thing, is just raising awareness that this is out there, this is happening. You've really got to protect that. You've really got to pay attention, to your information on Safer. You got to watch that. You've got to make sure
yeah,
that you've got an updated PIN. Where there's been instances where Safer is being targeted, and they're going and changing the information in there. And I think the other thing is, if you get a strange call or a strange load confirmation that comes to your office, and you're looking at this, and hey, we're not on this shipment, question it. Don't let it sit there, because somebody could be impersonating you as well, and that's a problem too. It really is going
mm,
to take the industry, brokers, shippers, and motor carriers all working together to be able to combat this and to be able to get it under control. And this is going to be something that the whole space is going to have to deal with for years and years ahead now, because this is international in scale and not localized to truck stops or drop yards anymore.
yeah, yeah. You're right. It's not a matter of putting up a fence in a guard shack. That doesn't
Yeah, and I would
and
see the other
people
thing
still
too.
they stole it then too.
Yeah. Well, Michael, the other thing too is motor carriers, and particularly if somebody calls you with a load that sounds too good to be true, and they're paying you a really healthy rate, they're in a rush to get it out of there. Maybe they don't really show a whole lot on their credit, or maybe the email is one numeral off of what it should be. A lot of times they're turning around and they're rebrokering this freight, either through
Mm,
identity theft or through
hmm
impersonation. They're rebrokering this freight to
hmm
unsuspecting motor carriers, and then they're sending it to a warehouse. Motor carrier's not going to be paid, and oftentimes they're helping somebody steal cargo, and they
Yeah, and they don't even
completely
know it.
unaware.
Yeah, completely unaware. And then when it all comes down, they've got to spend money to defend something that they weren't aware of.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to just say, "Well, I didn't know, Judge," and walk out of there. No, no, no. You got to
Yeah.
buy a
And you're
you
not
got to
going to
buy
get
a
paid for
lawyer
the
and all
shipment
kinds of.
either.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then you're on the hook for the shipment and everything else.
Yeah.
Is it getting to the point where there are premium considerations for having certain safeguards that are in there, or working, say, if you're a fleet and you do utilize a an intermediary to book your to book loads through, et cetera. Are there is it getting to that point where you take premium considerations depending on who they're working with and what those people employ as far as safeguards?
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the case for a while now, and it was more oriented around the liability concerns from a freight broker's perspective. And so there are insurance markets out there that write logistics companies, and they want to see a list of all the approved motor carriers, and they're going to run that through a query, and they're going to look at the likelihood of a serious accident with fatality and what kind of liability would occur if this were to go to court. And so it's really been underwritten, I think, historically more around the risk and mitigating the liability risk to a freight broker. But now we're seeing cargo rates really climb on the 3PL side. And everybody wants to understand, what are you doing to safeguard, who are you using to vet the motor carriers. And there's some great services out there to do that. Too many of them to list, but there's really five or six that do a good job. And
Mm.
you got to understand too how that plugs into your network, and and make sure too that it can't be overridden by a salesperson. I mean, I've been a salesperson. I've booked freight before. There were times, yeah, I've activated that motor carrier back in years and years ago, and you just can't do that anymore.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it used to be easier, and the list of carriers and the parameters of who you could and couldn't use has gotten tighter and tighter and
Yeah,
tighter and
certainly.
tighter, and more difficult to vet. But like you said, we've got these excellent services out there that can help do that. I know of one that we both know quite well.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, but and he owes me $500 still, but that's why I'm not saying his name. But so, real quick, last question. When I've been in the business for 36 years, right? And I've always been able, you can look, trucking transportation has always been an indicator of the economy, right? And along with that, theft has also been an indicator of the economic times, right?
Sure.
And how it's affecting the consumer. Is that still the case, or is there a rise in this that just happens to coincide with inflation, et cetera, and a tough economy? Is it more shifted now towards just the there's different tools to be able to do it, and the realization that there's a lot of money out there moving on these trucks? Is it just because it's like almost newfound territory, because you don't need a crowbar and a slim jim, you can use a computer to steal it?
Yeah, absolutely. I do think maybe there's a slight correlation there, and I think what you said there was probably very accurate up until the past 2 or 3 years. But nowadays, I mean, you can go and pick up, you can have a legitimate motor carrier that also runs the business legitimate for 6 months and then turns rogue. I mean, we've witnessed scenarios where people are going and picking up a shipment, going to a third party warehouse, unloading most of the shipment, taking the
Oh,
trailer doors off, slapping it back on, changing the bill of lading, delivering it, getting paid for the shipment, and stealing most of the load, and doing it repeatedly until they get caught. And so I think now the access to all of this technology out there is allowing people to do this, and they've gotten more sophisticated. And unfortunately, the tools that are available in the market are having to constantly evolve and change. So I think, to your point, there's probably some of that, but a lot of this is just a new way that fraudsters are attacking the industry, and we don't see
wow.
it going away.
They're physically taking the doors off so they're not breaking any of the seals,
Yeah,
right?
leave
And
the
then
seal
putting the
intact,
doors. That's
and
insane.
reprint the bill of lading with
Oh
a lower
wow.
pallet count.
Yeah, yeah, that's and pretty soon they'll start using AI to figure out which loads are the best to steal.
Let's not give them
Because
any ideas.
yeah, well, they're probably there already, right? We
I'm
just don't
sure.
realize it. They just don't realize it. Chad, thank you so much, man. We're out of time, and I know you got business you're doing out there in California because you're always working and driving the industry forward, and we appreciate that. Chad, where are people going, man? If they've never heard of Reliance Partners, which I don't know how that's possible, but where are they going to find this stuff out and get some good insurance?
Hey, we would love, check out our website, find us on LinkedIn. We've got 11 office locations around the country. Again, as I said, we insure more motor carriers than any other agency in the United States. And, we'd love to earn your business. We're obviously nationwide and really excited, future growth prospects. And business has been great right now. And we can't wait to see this market kind of cycle back up and see a lot of these motor carriers and freight brokers, the resumption of their growth.
Yeah, amen. From your lips to God's ears. Thank you so much, Chad. Thank everybody for tuning in to FEI. We'll catch you next time. Peace and love, everybody.
Hey, thanks, Michael.